Now, there are some very basic tests that you can do to test for the movement of a shock absorber or strut to see if it's worn out. Typically, if it's worn out, you'll have excessive oscillations. Now, the problem with doing that test, which we used to simply push up and down on the fender multiple times and then release and see how many times the vehicle compresses and rebounds of the spring. And if it just keeps compressing and rebounding several times, that's a worn out damper. However, modern suspension systems are way too stiff, too complicated to do such an easy test. Although there are applications out there, as we see in this tech tip right here, there are applications out there involving a smartphone by certain damper manufacturers where you can just lay the smartphone literally on the fender or on the hood next to that corner, that damper of that vehicle, and push a button on the app when you're ready to push the bumper down. And when you push it down one time, you've already put in the app, the make, the model, even the mileage on the dampers, not the vehicle, but the dampers, and it gives you a readout of how good or bad that damper is. In addition to an application like that for a smartphone, there are also other tricks you can do with temperature measurement. So if you think about this, you look at the illustration in the center, you have that piston moving up in the cylinder and it's pushing that pressurized gas and oil through that orifice. That's going to create some heat. And as you do that, that's going to make the body of the shock or the strut warmer to the touch. You will see it's warmer than the surrounding, let's say the frame of the vehicle. So what you do is you get your thermal non-contact parameter, your thermometer, ready to point at the shock or the strut after a road test. So go take a nice spirited ride road test where you make some corners, you go over some bumps in the road, all four corners getting equally bumped up as you go over some speed bumps and so forth. Then get it back to a safe place, a shop or a parking lot, wherever you can get access visually to the shock or the strut, and either use the digital pyrometer, or if you have a thermal imaging camera like we have on the right, the same item, you can look and see if you are physically getting a warmer temperature on an operating, fully operating shock or strut as opposed to one that's not operating.